really lucky.
Oh, where did you intern?
It was called Studio Joseph. It was like a marketing company.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
I live in, did you ever go to Emek Rafaim, the street?
I don't remember what area was that in. Where was it near?
It's towards like Talpiot Baca area.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
So
that's right around the area I'm living in.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited to go back.
Yeah, for sure. Have you taken a look at the different cities?
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Netanya.
Oh, that's great. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
And are you ready to have the beach at your disposal?
Oh my gosh, I'm so not used to it. I'm from Kansas, so.
Oh my gosh. Where in Kansas?
We have, Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Living in New Orleans, we have like the Gulf and we have like rivers and stuff. So that's really nice. But yeah, I've never lived near the beach, so I'm very excited.
That's really, really exciting.
Yeah.
And have you spoken to anybody who's done the program before?
I have not, but there's another girl who goes to school with me who is doing the program also next year in a different city than me.
Oh, which city?
I think she might be doing it in Beersheba, or no, wait, not Beersheba. It was Bat Yam, one of the cities that they're doing.
Bat Yam is a city. There's also one where they live in Beersheba, but they work in Rahat. So were you thinking of that?
I think she was doing one of the ones that was like outside of Tel Aviv.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, so did you visit Beersheba? That's where Carolyn did her.
I've never been. That's one of the only places I haven't been. So I'll definitely have to visit.
It's great. You should definitely visit.
I feel like more and more people are like really recommending going. They're like, you have to check it out.
It's getting hipper and hipper.
Yeah, it's like they're like, don't listen to the rumors.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. When I was there like 3 years ago, and anytime I told an Israeli anywhere else that I lived in Beersheba, they were like, "Oh, why would you live in Beersheba? What are you talking about? It's so fun. I love Beersheba."
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I feel like that's like some of the cities on the MITF map are like, you're like, you just got to go. And then you just like see all of a sudden what the city is, because Israelis aren't the ones going into these communities to teach, right? They're living, they're hopping around, they're whatever. And then you like meet the people that live in these cities and you're like, oh, now I understand why this city is, so popular.
Yeah.
Where else did you go while you were on Onward?
Where did I go? I feel like I got a little bit of everywhere. I mean, I didn't get to spend that much time in the South or anything. So I definitely want to do that more next time. But I got to go to like Zikron Yaakov, like in the north, which is really nice. And
Zikron Yaakov, yeah.
Yeah, like Haifa, obviously, and Jaffa, kind of around the different parts. We would go to Tel Aviv a lot on the weekends, but yeah, I really loved the area of Jerusalem.
Yeah. That's the best. Well, it's good that you're coming back now with like an idea of the country, an idea of like the Israeli lifestyle. I think you're going to be able to like jump into the program a lot quicker just because you've had those 2 months already.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to hopefully try to get there a little bit early too, if they let me, if the country opens up.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. Well, Chloe, I think it's just going to be us. I know that you've gotten pretty far. You have your paid deposit in, correct?
Yeah, I'm all in.
You're like, okay, going. Great. It's happening.
Perfect. So I don't need to give you the spiel, but like, we're here. We'd love to answer your questions. Like, do you have any questions about being a fellow? Caroline did it in 2018, 2019. So it was recently, and then if you have any questions,
like,
current
just
fellows,
about like your experience.
Yeah. I mean, I loved it, obviously, because I'm here. But I think like definitely you said going ahead is, I think, a great idea. I feel like it's like such a like you just kind of jump in. I had never been to Israel before I went on Masa. Similar to like you with Onward, I was like, I'm just gonna go and learn everything as I'm there. But it's blessed. Are you on the teacher's track or on the fellows track?
Well, I'm doing the teacher fellowship, so
cool.
Yeah.
So I think it's great.
But I'm not like a certified teacher, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah. That's what I mean. So same here. I have like very little teaching experience other than like, I don't know, my little brother. But it was really, really fun. I felt like most of the time I was getting to be like really creative and like what we got to do with the kids. I kind of like helped my English teacher, my host teacher, with specific things when she needed. And then a lot of the times she was like, this is what we're talking about this month. Like, think of some fun ways to do that in small groups. And then I'll just like give you 6 kids and you're kind of like in charge of coming up with ideas and activities. So we like did a lot of crafts and made a lot of movies and like taught them dances so that they could like learn the parts of their body, just like totally creative and silly things. And that was like really, really fun. I worked a lot with my teaching partner. The two of us were like inseparable the whole time because we spent so much time together in the classroom and like outside of the classroom planning for when we were at school. And then also like you have so much free time. Like I think I taught from like 9 to 4 days a week kind of thing. So there's like a lot of time to explore, a lot of time to get involved in like the other Masa programs that were happening, which I highly recommend. They have a lot of fellowship programs. I was a part of the Masa Hillel Fellowship. So I went to Jerusalem once. I was in Beersheba, but I would go like once a month to Jerusalem to meet with a group of people who were like all interested in learning more about like education and Jewish education and stuff like that. And those kinds of things I totally recommend because it's really nice to get to know people who live in different cities who are also on Masa, even if it just means that you like have people to crash with when you want to explore throughout the year. Of like, because I had a friend in Haifa, I could like go crash in Haifa for a week and didn't have to find a hostel. And then also I did the leadership center programs, which is also I highly recommend, that were like leadership intensives and a bunch of different like career development-y kind of stuff, because I was like a little bit concerned about what I was going to do afterward. And so being able to like add things to my resume along the way was like a really helpful way for me to be like, this is a productive use of my time, and also like solid networking and things like that. Not that teaching isn't like helpful for my resume, but I was like,
but if you don't want to be a teacher, yeah.
Exactly. I had no intention of being a teacher, and I wanted to be able to say at the end of the year, like, these are things that I did that will like benefit me going out of it, even if it was just like to convince my dad that it was a good idea. But I like, and so like I kind of signed up for all of the things to be like, oh yeah, like I'm doing cool stuff, but they're so good. Like I highly recommend signing up for the leadership center stuff. I feel like I learned so much in them. And like the network that I built was really, really helpful. And like I still reach out to people who work for that office to be like, hey, like I'm working on this thing I work for Hillel now, and like I reach out to them all the time for resources and like for questions and for recommendation letters and all of those things. And like I just made a lot of friends. So
that's great. Do you work for Hillel International?
So I work for Hillel in Chicago.
Okay.
Which I'm on the Springboard Fellowship, which is like the early professionals fellowship program. And so I like applied while I was still on Masa because I was on the like Masa Hillel track, and then started Springboard as soon as I finished with MITF.
Cool. I was going to ask what you'd done after, so that answered that question.
Yeah.
I guess I was wondering a little bit, I mean, I guess every relationship will be different with the teacher that you're assigned to, but in most situations, would you say it was kind of like them having a structure, what they wanted to do, and then just kind of like instructing you what to do? Or were you ever just kind of like the only one in front of the whole group?
That's a great question. It totally depended on the school.
Yeah.
So at the school I taught at Avakim Negev, which was like a preschool through 6th grade school, and they had 2 English teachers. And so because there were 2 fellows, part of the time it was like on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 9 and 10, like Caroline is with Mazal and Hannah's with Yardena, and like you go to their classes and do whatever they need. And then for some classes, they would be like, honestly, when I'm with 5th graders, like I don't really need you to be like making sure that the kids are being quiet. So I'm going to give you like the more advanced students, and you can be working on your own things, because that way, like we can do more of the like helpful curriculum.
It's like pretty dynamic, it seems like.
Yeah, totally. So we'd like pull out either the most beginning or the most advanced students a lot of the time, just so that they could like teach the same thing to the group that they had. And then other times they'd be like, honestly, like I have to deal with this one-on-one thing. Can you go in and deal with the 4th graders this period? Yeah. Which like also was totally fine because they thought we were really cool. And so they totally listened to us most of the time. Fully capable of being in charge of the whole class. But it totally depended. And then like there were other people, like my roommate's teacher was like extremely structured, and they had like their small groups that they worked with the whole entire year, and it didn't really change, and she knew like exactly what she was preparing every day, and she had like her teacher would ask her to like do prep work beforehand so that she knew like whatever they needed flashcards for this class, so she'd like come home and have like little assignments to do and stuff like that, which totally didn't happen to me. So
Caroline, true or false? This is always when I ask alumni what the best piece of advice is, like being in the schools and being a fellow, it's always like roll with the punches and be as flexible as you can be and just say yes. Yeah, beseda, right? It'll be okay.
Yeah, 100%. There were definitely days we were like, I don't think we need to be here. And like sometimes they would be like, you know, Caroline, Hannah, we don't need you right now. The kids are being annoying. We don't want you in here. Just like go outside for a quarter, and be like, okay, bye. And honestly, on those days, we would just like see kids running through the halls who would run away from class and be like, hey, like, yeah, here, come over here, talk to us in English. And that was like also fully a real part of my job.
That's awesome.
That's really funny. I guess, was there anything, maybe like ways you would go about certain things, kind of in terms of just managing your relationship with the teacher and with the kids, that you kind of got the hang of at the end, that you're like, wow, I really wish I would have started this from the start?
Yeah, I honestly, exactly what Vanessa said. Like, I think being like super, super go with the flow, hyper respectful, just like, yeah, 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 whatever you say goes. Absolutely. I'm just here to help, was like the best thing that we could do, because as long as I don't know if this is like the right thing to say, but like as long as they like you, like
Yeah.
everything's fine. But also, I don't know if you speak Hebrew. I don't speak Hebrew. And so it was really hard for me to communicate with anyone else who worked at the school. So like if I had a problem with my host teacher, I couldn't talk to another teacher or the principal because they didn't speak English. And so it was like so crucial that I had a positive relationship with the English teacher, because often she was the only person who I could talk to about anything. So just like,
That's so interesting that the other teachers didn't speak English either.
yeah, at my school, and like I was in Beersheba, which like there is like far from the center. And I was in a like Sephardic, for the most part, school, and I was in a religious school. So like for a lot of reasons,
Okay,
I think
that makes, it makes
yeah. But like no one spoke English. Like I either use Google Translate or like sign language, and like slowly tried to speak more and more Hebrew to them. But most of the time, like in the teacher's lounge, Hannah and I would just like sit silently in the corner or talk to each other because we had no idea what they were gossiping about.
Well, you know, Chloe, when you're bringing on or bringing in fellows to these periphery cities, right? The periphery, whether they're not in the centrally located tourist spots or whether they're like the literal periphery, the whole point is that, you know, bringing the English exposure. So even though it's like surprising, and you're like, wow, I can't believe the teachers don't speak English. Like that's exactly the point. And like speaking to in the whole community and bringing your literal words like as a connecting point is like just as much, I think, part of your job as catching kids in the hallways and in the classroom. And that's what's really cool.
Yeah, because I totally I feel like I went in with that expectation last time, and then I was literally everywhere I went shocked by how many people spoke English and how good their English was. But yeah, obviously it's different.
You were in Jerusalem.
Well, no, not just in Jerusalem though. Like,
oh, right.
Yeah. So like in Beersheba.
But I want to be surrounded by Hebrew, so that's not an issue for me.
Yeah.
Caroline, I'm just going to pause for 1 second. Hi, Liat, if you're joining us, we're just having an really open Q&A.
Hi.
Ask questions. Caroline is a Beersheba alumni, and so if you're wanting to ask questions about the program itself or what's going on right now from me, we're kind of just doing this as an open forum.
Sure, I thought I'd just stop by and hear what people had to say. I'll let you know if I think of something.
Okay, perfect. I'll let you go, Caroline. Thank you.
I was just gonna say, like in Beersheba, like we lived in the old city, which is like pretty like up and coming, artsy, like lots of like cool hip bars. And like in my apartment building, most of the people who lived there were like 20 something artists or bartenders kind of vibes. And so like all of them spoke English because they were like college student age and like, you know, just like hip and young and stuff. so like within the area where I actually lived, like it was really easy to get to know people, and I like met a lot of people who lived in the area, and like whenever we went to any of the bars, like our neighbors were usually the bartenders, so they introduced us to all of their friends, and it was like very easy to build community in Beersheba. But then when I went to school, which was like more in like a suburb, I guess, of Beersheba, then like no one spoke English. So it like totally depended, I think, like your distance from the university and your distance from like the young people areas of the city.
Thank you. Okay, I have one more question.
Yeah. Oh, well, Chloe, really quickly,
so-
I think you're going to find that also in Netanya, that you're going to have a similar experience, because you have the younger university groups, but then you also have like, you know, original Netanya people who have been there for years and years and years and like just have been in their communities. So I'm excited for you to see that as well.
Thank you. Yeah, it's such a pretty city too. The beaches. So when I did my program last time, I totally overdressed in the clothes that I brought, like that I was expecting to wear every day, because I know that Israel's so much more casual. But obviously it's hard because like working in a school and like I don't know how religious it's going to be. There's obviously some clothes that like you can't wear. So I was just kind of wondering like what type of stuff you would suggest bringing just to wear every day in the school, like in terms of what's appropriate.
So I don't know if this is still the case. When I was there, we didn't find out what school we were being placed in until we were there. And so I did not know if I was going to be in a religious school. And then I was placed in a religious school and I had not packed skirts. And so then I had to like go out and buy a bunch of skirts. So I would and like my mom literally like mailed me some skirts, but then it like took 2 months because like Israel mail, which we didn't realize was a terrible idea. So like I would definitely recommend showing up with a handful of skirts that pass your knees, because like from day one, like I was always required to wear a skirt at school and cover my elbows and my collarbones. And then like if you don't need them, your roommate probably will, because half of them are going to be in religious schools.
Good point.
You. So, but then we all traded also.
Okay. So just like, but in terms of, do you know, for your friends who didn't have to wear skirts every day, would they just wear like normal pants?
Yeah, they all were
Like
Jeans.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Jeans, Blundstones. That is the wedding. That's the Israeli tuxedo.
Yeah.
Literally.
Also, what you can do, like in terms of appropriate dress of long pants, and if you're interested in doing skirts, you can do skirts that come a little bit maybe like to the knee, but wear kind of like 3/4 leggings. And I think layers will be just your best friend, because you're going to need leggings no matter what. So, it can't hurt.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much. That answers my question. So I'm going to hop off, but I really appreciate it.
So good to meet you.
Thank you, Chloe.
Yeah, enjoy your Sunday. Thanks.
Nice to meet you. Bye. Liat, if you have any other questions, we're happy to take them.
I had one. I was curious about sort of the transition after the program and like how you sort of went about figuring out what came next. Because I know a lot of people come in knowing like exactly like, okay, I'm going to go to law school after, I'm going to move to Israel, like have a multi-step plan, and I'm not quite there. And so I'm just wondering like if you felt like doing this program positioned you to make some of those choices, and sort of like what that was for you.
Yeah, I definitely did. I will say I was not one of those people who had a plan. I like applied to Masa my last week of college and was like, I'll figure it out after that. And most of the people that I met, unless they were on the teachers track, I guess, like the certified teachers, I think have a different experience because this is like teaching experience for them. But everyone else I met was like totally had no idea what their plans were next and were like finding themselves or like taking pause or whatever. And I felt like it prepared me really well to kind of think better about what I wanted to do next. There's a lot of fellowship kind of programs that you can join with Masa once you get there. So I joined the Hillel Masa track, which was like once a month we would meet at Hebrew University. There were like 15 of us, and we would spend a lot of the time talking about like career development kind of things. We spent a day like practicing interviews and working on resumes and learning about like various opportunities to apply for early professional jobs afterward. And like I ended up working for Hillel after that, and I was like extremely set up. I like had people to write my recommendation letters and like all of those things. But there's also like there's a JFNA track. Like there's a lot of different tracks that kind of set you up to work in different pathways. But then also like a lot of people on my fellowship didn't work for Hillel, but still like got the career development kind of stuff from it, which I think was really helpful. And then also if you're like, I was really worried about making sure that I was like adding helpful things to my resume along the way. So I got really involved in the Masa Leadership Center programming, which I would like could not recommend more. I think it was really, really helpful, both because they have really good trainings and they had a lot of like weekend seminars and stuff like that, that I was like, this is like actually useful things that I can translate into work once I get back. And also like it was really good for networking and I got to meet a
Right.
lot of people, and like the people who work for the Masa Leadership Centers like still write recommendation letters for me. Like it's like really easy to kind of be like, even though I spent a year in Israel and was like teaching and that wasn't my plan for like long term, I still was able to like add a lot of things to my resume so that I felt like it was like a useful year and set me up for the
Yeah.
future.
That sounds awesome.
And also to add to that, speaking to like many alumni who have come through and have gone into various different jobs, I think that like, and something that you were exposed to on MITF, Caroline, is just different things that are out there, and like different kinds of work and different people who are in different lines of work, whether it's in like government or biotech or engineering. Like I just heard all these stories of people who said, oh, I got my job because I met so and so at a summit, or I got my job because I went, traveling through Israel, met someone in the South, and now I have a job in, New York. It was one that I heard the other day. And so it's that networking is totally there for like people who are in your field and people who you don't know what field they're in. And that's something that you could fall in love with. And that exposure, I think, continues throughout the whole program, the more you say yes to those other opportunities.
And I also think like Israel culturally it like really believes in networking in a different way than I like grew up. Like I know
Oh,
we knew
totally.
networking was important, but I was always kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to like feel like I'm cheating. I don't know. But in Israel, like everyone you meet wants to like help you make sure you can do whatever they can do to make your like next step better and easier. So I think like everyone around is like definitely going to help you like with whatever it is. Even if you're like, I really think I want to get a master's, like you tell that to your host teacher, they probably know someone who did that and they'll set you up immediately.
And we'll invite you over for dinner, and then you'll.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Yeah, I think that was like the main question that I had. I definitely think I want to talk to someone that works in the city where I was placed and like sort of get a sense of what it's like
Where are
right
you
now.
going?
Haifa. Yeah.
Fun.
So Liat, if you reach out to Jordan, she'll definitely connect you to current fellows.
Yes. And then this is like a small technical thing,
Please.
but I was trying to pay the rest of my deposit and the portal has not been working for me. And I'm wondering if there is an email I can get in touch with about that.
Definitely. So if it's an issue with the portal, you can email tech support. I think I can chat it to you. Yeah, give me a second. I'll pull that email up. And then if it's an email with the payment itself, the payment goes through Jordan and Israel Experience.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll decide where it's coming from. Give me 1 second. Here we are. Okay. I'll send that to you in the chat. His name is Daniel. He'll help you out. If you have any other issues logging in, you can reach out to him.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Anything else? Any other questions?
I think that's it for me right now, but Caroline, is there any way I could get your email in case I
Yeah,
think of
totally.
anything?
I will put it in the chat.
Caroline's a great contact and a great connection.
Always happy to talk about Masa. I
Beautiful.
try to convince. I work for Hillel, and I'm always trying to convince all of my students they should get on Masa.
Awesome.
Yeah,
All
feel
right.
free to send me an email anytime. Happy to chat.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Liat.
Monday.
You too.
All right. Let me see. I'll stop it.